Hello. And today we're playing Devil's Gambit. So we're finally going to figure out what happens right after Hector drops the liquid into the ground. So we're going to go ahead and get right to that. Shoot up and spat out, that's how shoot out and spat out, that's how every expedition so far has ended, but not this time. Every time we stumble upon another wall, which we promptly open with the ice essence, it feels as if we're steadily descending down the esophagus of a monster too large to comprehend. With each open door, the vegetation becomes more restless and harder to distinguish from animal or fungi. What seems like a deer's head peeking out from a bend reveals itself upon further inspection as some kind of fungus until its antlers fan out into what seem like lungs. Later, a tree's branches splinter into splinter not into leaves, but what seem like insects' legs that snatch of any wildlife passing by. We see it devour a bird, but only until its rib cage bursts out and releases a swarm of bugs. The deeper we go, the more horrifying the sights become, and the more often the protests and whispers from the guards of the caravan break through the insect's course. What in God's name? This can't be it. This has to be some trap. We're walking into our dooms. There's no way the previous expeditions were seeking this pit of horrors. An inquisitor. We have an inquisitor. We're protected by God. You witless soldiers, abandon these foolish superstitions. Without the demon to harass us, we are safe. Doctor, Badger, come here. Zilpha stops and follows me with his gaze. Yes, Your Grace. These fools, can you believe them? Praying to God this and that, stricken by fear of lowly beasts. They have no grasp of the historical achievement they are about to witness. You, at least, I see now what you're made of. You walk in front of the expedition, opening each door without fear or doubt. You are a man of vision. My feet sink into mud. Never in my life have I ever felt so small. I was wrong about you and your kind, my good doctor, and to imagine you have become a man of such fiber with only the teachings of a witch doctor. Are all badgers like you, or was it your father's teachings that perfected you in this manner? I am told he was quite the man. Please no. Please don't toss my father's memory, not like this. My father taught me all he knew, and the people of Oban are strong of character. Your Grace? Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Before I became a Duke of Renai, back at the Imperial Court, I heard whispers of annexing that region. No, please no. Our strategists decided against it, of course, because they deemed it too lacking of anything worth claiming. But I see now that the true nature that the true treasure of Oblon has always been its people, and that I am sure is enough treasure to bring your people into our empire. Die, die. Choke on your own spit and die, you soulless monster. Tell me, my good doctor, do you have children? Are you married? No, your grace. Oh, that's a pity. Now that's a pity indeed. Not even a hybrid or a bastard? You need not be ashamed, since trifling moral qualms are nothing for men of our intellect. My hand travels down to my belt bag. I'm not such a fool to go into the valley without some form of assurance. A scalp a scalpel isn't much, but it's the best I could bring. My blood runs cold once I feel it, pressed between the leather and one of the elixirs. But I don't need to look ahead to feel the weight of Silver's gaze on me. If I go any further, I just know he'll notice what I'm trying to do. He won't give me time to kill myself, let alone a duke. Not now. Maybe I'll have a chance later, but not now. No, Your Grace, my life has been dedicated to my work. Oh, what a tragedy. Still, I'm so very glad you have revealed the past to us, good doctor. You of all people must understand the weight of our discovery. By my good, by my good name, I swear to you, the path to the fifth layer, to the final mystery left by Karina, is revealed. I have long known that these provincial wolves held the key to it all in this valley, neglected and forgotten. With the secrets we are about to uncover, we shall be able to study the fifth layer, and from that achievement, a new age of science will burst forth. We shall put an end to all diseases, my good doctor. In the light of this achievement, of the struggle endured to conquer it, will guide all for thousands of years to come. You understand, right? That even the tale of what we are about to do will be a greater achievement than all scientific discoveries of the last century combined? To end all disease, to end the struggle for all generations to come, to sell the importance of science, genius, vision to the world. There's no cost too great. Will you agree, my good doctor? You need to die. I need to die. Yes, Your Grace. I knew it, that you would understand. Now go, my good doctor, and lead the way. Your bravery will guide us to the knowledge I seek. I return to the front of the expedition to the Inquisitor's side, and I feel the vomit pushing up my throat. I swallow it and choke myself before I can spit out. I refuse to let the horror show. I refuse to show my weakness now. My blood still runs cold, and what grounds me and pulls me back to myself is a most indistinct chatter from the guards. It dawns on me that throughout all those years I had never bothered to learn any guard's name, not as a child in the Duke's mansion, not as a doctor in the hospital, not as an expeditioner in this procession. There were the 10 men Kaga mocked, and the hired muscle I could call if a patient threw a fit, foreigners who took over an eye, and my co-workers under the Duke. Now I'm even worse than them, as I reveal the way to yet another stretch of the eye's creations. Heavens, even the creatures around us have more sense, for as horrific as they are, they do not follow us deeper into the valley, do not cross the thresholds, do not stray outside the area to which they are adapted. I looked to my side to Silver. There's a tension in his face which has only grown the further we walked into the valley. His face, body, and clothes are streaked with a nervous sweat. His face is frozen into an expression bordering on panic, and seeing that big monster of a man who incinerated a mass of Hazley with just a coin so second tells me that what I need to know. We are walking towards death. Each one of the guards could stop and turn back. So could I and Silver. Consequences be damned. But we don't. Instead, we proceed one step at a time, one horrifying vision after another, opening each successive door. At some point, a guard almost stumbles, but is held up by a quick acting fellow. Another comes in and makes sure his armor has not been compromised. They take care of each other, and that is when I feel the most alone, vulnerable, and doomed. I don't know what comes to me, but I look up the Sif's horror-stricken face, his flaring nostrils, those undignified streaks of nervous sweat. Are you all right, Silver? Yes, I am. His voice, at least, is firm. Perhaps he even believes it. I could ask you to say, you didn't look so shaken until the Duke called you over. What did he want? I suppose he wasn't listening to our conversation after all. It's hard to hear through the persistent choir of insects. Maybe it's that thought, knowing I'm not being heard by anyone else, that lets my anger boil over. Nothing important. He was just tarnishing me and my father, my hometown. I swear if one person doesn't make it back to an eye, it ought to be him. Don't burst the vessel, Badger. Stay close to me. We've been walking for hours. I'm out of breath and my legs feel numb, but the incessant ringing of the valley's insects and the smell of the flowers overwhelms every other sense. But when the final wall blocking the heart of the valley make way for us, my senses return to me. Sitting at the bottom of the basin that is the valley is ancient Renai. Dozens of tall towers surround a massive tree. From its sprout, what looks like massive hands holding pieces of the sky or perhaps of the sea. I'm pulled away. I'm I'm pulled in by that blue glow. It's almost beautiful. It reminds me of the story river from the night I sneaked out of the manor with Kagan. And yet, how can it be so wild? Something is swimming in there. I can't make out what it is, but I do see it. After a few seconds, I yank my gaze away. Below the tree and the buildings, an unnatural light emanates from the earth and the abundant haze leaf arteries surrounding it, pulsing as if there was a colossal beating heart somewhere underground, as if we were no more than ants for a sleeping giant. I hear whispers coming from the back. When I turn back, I catch the last guard on the line standing still, his tiny spear pointing his tiny spear pointed up, mouth aghast. The others ahead of him have broken into chatter. When I look back to the little guard in the back, I find that he is gone, his spear is discarded on the ground. I want to say I caught the tip of his tail as he took a turn back where he came. There's something comforting in that, in this idea that running away is a possibility. But I am lying to myself. I saw no sign of him except for the abandoned spear, and why would he run away without his weapon? Silver steps forward, his eyes scanning the city's outskirts. Look around for a statue. It should be something like a small black obelisk, not much taller than your waist. Yes, let us search. Do not stray from my sight, Badger. Right. The caravan spreads as we look for this obelisk. It's just a few minutes later that the voice of one of Manuel's men breaks through the chorus of insects. I found it. It's here. Me and Silver exchange a glance before heading his way. The terrain around us is rocky and uneven. The line has retreated downhill, out of sight, and every step towards him requires care not to lose my balance. Moreover, we all see that slope ends of a cliff overlooking a gaping mouth on the ground below, or far below, of course, one of the valley's moving pits. I hear murmurs and whispers as we all hurry his way. But the moment we reach the slope, I feel a strong thud on my back, and I'm sent tumbling forward. As I roll down over the loose rock, my limbs react on their own, trying to break the fall, even if it means a broken bone or two, anything to stop me falling off, from falling down the cliff. But as soon as I start to slow down, the loose rock on the slope dislodges or crumbles, sending me down again and again. I tumble down the hill straight into the pit and barely catch the edge of it. No, wrong. I didn't catch the edge. Someone grabbed my hand. Silver. Looming shadows approached him from behind, raising their spears with ill intent. Before I can understand what's happening, before I can warn him, they bring them down, plunging them right into his back. The sharp, fleshy sound that follows makes my heart stop for a second. Silver's grip weakens for an instant, but I'm holding on for dear life. Gritting his teeth through the pain, the dragon makes a last push. I fall into the tainted grass with a thud as he collapses next to me. The chorus of insects keeps drilling itself into my skull, indifferent to my confusion or the violence that just took place. Silver can't move either, bleeding profusely from the wounds on his back. I want to get up, but balance fails me. I can only watch as the lion searches Silver, taking away that golden coin of his before one of them straddles and handcuffs him. You piece of shit! Who do you think you are? The Inquisition will burn you for this. My good man, there will be no Inquisition after this is done. We'll walk into a world that dispenses such incompetent and superstitious institutions. I drag myself through the ground and see the Duke standing on top of the hill. Do you really think you'll get away with this? Of course, I only need a hostage and a safety, and only until it dawns on the emperors and nobles that the old world is no more. Have no fear, you are not meant to die. What? You small-minded wizard, I pity you, that even having half a lion in you, you still could not match the genius of a badger, witch doctor. He understands. My father was an admirable researcher. At the end of the day, all he did was make the peasants a new toy. But the truth of the fifth layer will revolutionize how we see medicine, no, the world. Don't you see? The time of nobles deciding the fate of kingdoms on a whim will be over, and in their place we shall have enlightened visionaries. Well, we will still have all the good dynasties managing all the mundane matters. Don't get me wrong. It is just that above them we will have men of science guiding the way. All this will be caused not by a senseless peasant revolt, but by all the thousand discoveries we shall make as the fifth layer is revealed. What the fuck are you talking about? All you accomplish is getting everyone in this little expedition your family killed. That is, if you don't get the thing in the center of the valley to kill us all first. Do you think the wolves abandoned that huge city on a whim? No. What's there is far, far worse than you could imagine. You need to wake up. All muscle, no brains, it seems. I didn't expect you to understand my vision, but it's still disappointing. And you don't need to be coy about the Dark God on account of my men. Your Inquisition will be a thing of the past soon, as I said. Fucking idiot. Regardless, you'll play a valuable role when it comes to stalling the Inquisition. Hurry up and hoist him up on one of the beasts. We're taking him with us. And bring me with my implements. I'll have to stop the bleeding, at least enough to keep him alive for a while. What do we do with the badger, Your Grace? The soldier bringing the Duke's attention to me suddenly brings me back to reality. I grunt with effort as I get back to my feet, just barely not losing my balance. You have you no manners? That is no badger. You cur, have you no manners? That is no badger. This good doctor is a visionary, the same category as myself, and no less encouraged than I. He understands what must be done. He has told me as much. Today's achievement must not be tarnished by trifling details. If the very tail of my feet will last 1,000 years, which is why we must do away with him. Should it ever come out that I was not the one to distill the ice essence, the damage will be incalculable. It will be just like Karina. His gaze, manic and faltering, weighs on me again. You understand, yes, that this has always been Karina who unraveled the mystery of the first 4 layers. Who were Karina's teachers? How old was their school? And from whom did they learn? What discoveries did they make on their own, and which were imported from abroad? How many assistants did she have? How many other physicians did she work with? Who took her notes? Who cleaned her study? Who prepared her corpses for dissection or dissection? It does not matter. They did not exist. There is no such thing as a person other than Karina, this visionary who is capable of unraveling 4 out of 5 of the body's layers. Isn't it incredible, Hector? What a beautiful and absurd lie. For thousands of years, we have rolled in on we have rolled in our piss and shit trying to make sense of that woman's leftovers, while she made sense of almost all that we are in a single pathetic lifetime. It makes no sense, and yet we believe it, and her brilliance has pushed us onwards. That is what we will do, my good doctor. Through my name, you, too, will become an immortal of history. That's what we will do, my good doctor. Through my name, you, too, will become an immortal of history. Come on, Hector, kneel before me. For a man your stature, I will make sure is painless and quick. The coldness and what little courage filled me earlier has evaporated, leaving me a shaking mess. They are going to kill me, and for what? Just to protect the Duke in some world where his delusions come true? As if any of that would happen. How much time does he think Silver will buy him? Surely enough time. Well, surely not enough for those 1,000 discoveries of his. He's just killing himself and taking everyone with him, if not by the Inquisition's hand, then by the dark gods. But no matter what I try to say, all that comes out is a stutter. I look up to the guard, even there, in his sallow eyes, I see hesitation, not enough, however, to soften his grip on his spear. You live, and then you die. Then the pain's over. All will be fine soon, my good doctor. No, you. You are insane. You are less than. The guard is just waiting for the order now, so before it can come, my legs move on their own. I won. With all that my body has to give, I won. Oh, there he goes. Shall we chase after him? Have some kindness, you brute. The man's about to face his end. It's no surprise his nerves got to him. He is running towards the city of all places, too. Worry not. I am sure he will recover his wits and return to fulfill his role. If not, I wouldn't bet on him surviving for long in that state and alone. The valley will take care of it. If only that puss had made him tumble down to the pit, he would have gone out knowing his historic role and all this, while sparing him the awful anticipation of his death. What a shame. For now, just focus on the Inquisitor, and here those pits can move on their own, so I'd rather not leave him lying there for too long. Yes, Your Grace. I won. I feel the burn in my legs and lungs. but I don't stop. I almost stumble. I lose my footing more than a handful of times, but I keep pushing forward. If I trip, if I stop, if I give up, that might be the end of me. The Duke's soldiers might be chasing me, and my body responds to the threat. I find force and endurance I never knew I had. And even as the pain all throughout me grows, and is compounded by a splintering migraine that feels like it's ripping out my left eye, I keep running. It doesn't matter that I stepped on something flashy or that I pushed away something that looked like a leaf yet scurried away the moment I touched it. I just I just need to keep moving. I don't know how far away my pursuers are. My heavy breathing alongside the valley song covers up every other sound. The treacherous terrain demands my full attention to navigate, so I can't even look back. So I keep running and running, to nowhere in particular, until my legs are about to give out. Then something manages to catch my attention through the scent of flowers in the air, a scent I almost recognize, but I can't tell from where. I can't even think about it. I need to keep running. But soon it's not just my nose that notices something happening. After a while, before I realize it, I'm moving through something like a cloud. What is this, gas? No, it's more like pollen. From the clouds, I start seeing shapes and movements, confusing it for one of Manuel's men. I stop in my tracks and turn the other way. But soon, more and more silhouettes begin taking shape, woven silhouettes. Some of them run alongside me as if racing me, before dancing around me. They look like ghosts. The way they hop around and clap their ghastly hands is just like the leaf burning festival. They smile, yet the expressions feel empty. I don't know if it's just because it's so hard to make out their features. If so, are these demons? What is happening? So entranced I am by their performance that I fail to notice the cloud of pollen becoming thicker and thicker. Three of the ghosts step ahead of me and then dive into me. I try to block with my arms, but then simply disperse into a part of the cloud the moment they clasp to me. I can't see the ground or any more. Well, I can't see the ground or anything anymore. I trip on something and fall. But I don't fall onto the ground or grass or rocks. Instead, I float in the air, and for a moment, I wonder if I've fallen into another of those moving pits. Hell, maybe these things made me turn around, so I've ended up in the same pit Silver saved me from. But then the pollen clears, and I land with thud on hard wood. With a groan, I raise my head and get a better look at what I've ended up at. What is this? There's roots all around me, countless spirals tangled into a massive tunnel. Rays of sunlight fall on my face from cracks on the ceiling. Despite this, there's no leaves or any sign of anything alive nearby, just cold wood. There's a scent in the air that stings my nose, but I quickly grow used to it. I look up at the cracks, but I fall in through one of those. But they are falling through one of those. They're pretty high up, so I don't know how I didn't break anything. It doesn't seem like I'm being followed. Maybe they lost me when I went into the pollen cloud. I have no idea where I'm at. Well, I have no idea where I am, but I need to move. Silver could be in danger, and the Duke is heading for the valley. Kagan. I need to warn Kagan. Need to warn everyone. It's not going to be safer when I. But where? Where will it be safe? If the dark god awakens, we'll all die. Silver made it abundantly clear there'd be nowhere to run. My limbs are weary and my head spins. My stomach turns and I fall to my knees. Calm down, Hector. You're worried about too many things at once, as usual. Think of something else. That pollen cloud and those things that emerged from it. I remember their smell now. I sensed it the last time I went to the Duke's Manor. When I was leaving, I saw a shadow standing in the east wing hallway, which then disappeared. That's when I caught the faintest hint of it. A faint yet sickly, sweet smell that tickled my nose. When was it again? Right, the day. I was sneaking around with Ricardo. When I came down the stairs, I caught that smell, and I saw something standing in the hallway. That was one of those things, wasn't it? I don't know. What was it doing there, haunting the place? I don't know. Just think about it. After two, three, four deep breaths, I feel well enough to get back on my feet. I really need to start moving. Behind me, there was only a dead end, so the only way to go is forward. My legs are still shaking, and my fingers pick at the fur around my neck on their own. Meanwhile, my mind is somewhere else entirely, pondering questions such as if that pollen cloud was actually a colony of exceedingly small organisms, and if splitting into wolves was an act of mimicry or something else. I don't think pollen can. I don't think pollen can develop an identity. At least I can't smell how. I don't think pollen can develop an identity. At least I can't imagine how that would be the case. But what does matter here at the heart of the valley, it doesn't. I don't think pollen can develop an identity. At least I can't imagine how that would be the case. But what does that matter here at the heart of the valley? It doesn't matter if it makes sense. If it's not, well, if it's. I don't think pollen can develop an identity. At least I can't imagine how that would be the case. What does that matter here at the heart of the valley? It doesn't matter if it makes sense, if it's natural or not. Still, what Still, what did all that mean? Why the dancing? Was it really celebrating? If so, the next question would be how it was mimicking the leaf burning festival. How would a cloud of pollen even perceive something? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's all meaningless questions that go nowhere, all to distract me. Going nowhere is exactly how I feel. Actually, how long have I been walking? There's no end in sight, and that the deeper I go, the less light there is. I'm not even sure if I'm going deeper into the valley or not. Should I try to go back and climb into one of the cracks in the ceiling? I don't think I can, but maybe it's worth a shot. However, a few steps after I turn around, I bump my head against something. Huh? It's a dead end. I'm not going crazy, am I? I've been walking for so long, this couldn't possibly have been here before. Regardless, Hector, you can only go forward unless you prefer to wait for rescue, but I wouldn't bet on anyone finding you here. You could probably last a few days without food, but I don't see any water nearby. Not that I'd recommend drinking anything you find in this valley. The water around the city was white pink. I guess so. I have no other choice. Right, so move forward, deeper, as you always do. How long have you been here, I wonder? By my side, I mean. Why are you asking this now? I don't know. It's just occurred to me that despite you being with me for so long, I can't remember when you started. I wonder if this is what it feels like for Kagan. That wolf of yours, even now, you think of him. Well, I imagine his world is much more colorful than ours, considering his company, a devil, or at least a very convincing actor pretending to be one. We are tidier, cleaner. I know what I need to do, and I need it without complaint. And you've been doing good too until recently. You've been forgetting yourself, indulging in little fantasies of having all those things we worked so hard to build stripped away. Father went to such Father went to such lengths to make you into the man you are today. What would he think if he knew you've been rejecting his teachings, casting all his time and effort out just for some man? And it will all be for nothing, Hector. There are things about yourself that will never change. Never change? Watch yourself. You can't see a thing. I know. Where did you come from? I just can't remember. We've been talking for years, but never like this. What's happening? It must be an effect of the valley. What else could it be? Look at what I did to Kakan, making him branch off. Our situation isn't too dissimilar, with the exception of age and time. Little Kakan went through this when his mind was young and pliable, when all his thoughts were jumbled together. What a mess it must have been. As for you and me, I argued we already were like this long before setting foot in Renai. Oh, Hector, I've been here for so I've been here for such a long time. Maybe this is for the best. You've made such a mess of things. None of this would have happened if you had stuck to your station and done your work. But I digress. As for where I come from, don't you remember? I've never been able to forget it. But I suppose your time in Renai. But I suppose your time in Renai has truly made you lose sight of who you are. It was summertime in Oblon when it happened. You had just started attending church to practice your writing. That day, our fate was sealed. Let me show you, Hector. It's been hours. Your legs are just about to give up. But look, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Go on, Hector. Just a little more, and you'll feel the valley's breeze on your face, suffused with the pollen of 100,000 flowers in the chorus of its wildlife army. The light of the sun, the pink hues of the sky, the ever sifting earth, it will welcome you back. But when you step out, you sink instead. Sink deeper, Hector. Let us dream about where it all started. Upon whispering the usual song, the eye's presence once more flows through my veins. The dark god makes itself known and releases magic through my fingers. In doing so, its power is purified and made compatible with nature. Burned away, turned into lies, made manifest, such is the foundation of the invisibility spell and most magic that our ancestors invented. That is one thing they had in common with the Inquisition. When it comes to fighting a dark god, something must burn, be it flesh or essence. I wonder, is the eye ignorant about it being purified or just indifferent? But this time, my voice falters because sensing its presence confirms that I feared when Wine experienced that cramp. You good, Cotty? You look on edge. Don't you feel it too? Something's off. Have you had more of those cramps while I was away? No, that was the first time that happened, I promise. But yeah, now I'm also, I don't know, not scared, but worried. It's strange suddenly not being able to be scared and to have to learn the difference between worry and fear. I know because I had to do it too. Yeah, that. Warren was scared of one day finding himself back in that cell again and losing everything he loved, but for me it's different. Right now, my mind is racing, trying to find an answer as to what that cramp really was. but it doesn't match anything we've dealt with before. Just what could be affecting the eye's magic or magic in this way. I keep going over every possible combination of explanations, and all I accomplish is lose sight of the broader picture. I can't keep up or make sense of anything. My mind just won't listen. But from the chaos, a pattern emerges. Unfortunately, it's the one thing that is evident from the start. And vague as it may be, it's the most promising explanation. Something's happening in the valley that is still in the eye. Do you think it's the Duke's doing? I hope not. We were out of commission just for a little more than a day, weren't we? Even if he suddenly put together an expedition yesterday, he couldn't have made it that far. Even without our interference, that shouldn't be possible, not unless something changed. Did Silver help him? No, even that shouldn't be enough. Let's just look around. If something really happened, then I figure the townspeople must be gossiping about it. It doesn't take long to confirm our fears. It's hard to find a wolf in the streets that isn't talking about the Duke suddenly, leaving in an expedition alongside his men and the Inquisitor. Even so, details are scarce. I figure someone happened to witness them leaving and began spreading the rumor. What the hell's happening? The Inquisitor was supposed to kill the Duke, not take him into the valley. And yet Silver isn't an idiot. There must have been a good reason for him to join the expedition. What could it be? It's hard to tell if it's out of habit or because I could really use a drink that I end up wandering to Orwell's nest. But now that I'm here, it's not a terrible place to gather gossip. It's hard to tell if it's out of habit or because I could really use a drink that I end up wandering to Orwell's nest. But now that I'm here, it's not a terrible place to gather gossip. Orwell must be in the kitchen because Woden is manning the bar and there's a faint smell of stew in the air. But then there's something else. Tobacco, but not a kind I've ever seen a local or a lion ever smoke before. It's nasty, like somebody shoved into a cigar all kinds of substances that don't belong together. Hector would have a field day dissecting this smell. With his big nose and knowledge of herbs, a couple of patrons seem a bit on edge. Curious, I walk closer to the bar from where the smoke is coming. A dragoness sits there, smoking from her pipe between gulps from my lord's mug of ale. From Ronan's word expression as well as the fact that she smells like a refinery, I guess he's been drinking for a while. But are my eyes tricking me? Those clothes. Is he part of the Inquisition? And that's not all. She looks awfully familiar. Of course, she's Silver's mentor. Don't you remember? Looks like she hasn't aged a day. Is that a dragon thing? Or has he found the secret to eternal youth in the mug? Ah, the Inquisitor who offered her hand in his darkest, most desperate moment, when he was covered in the blood and guts of every person he had known up to that point, and brought him into the life of an Inquisitor, to travel the world and massacre people all across the land. Ryan notices my dark thoughts and pulls me back. What do you think she's doing here, Caddy? I don't know, but she arrived on Silver's Island because she had an intuition about a dark god awakening, so I can't see this as a good omen. We don't have time to deal with another Inquisitor. There are other taverns in town. We should get away and check those instead. I'm about to leave when I suddenly notice movement from the corner of my eye. She's staring at the smoke coming from her pipe intently. how it curls and shifts with every movement around her. Oh no. She looks at the wall, right at us. A mug flies across the bar and then smashes against the wall, bouncing off and losing splinters and splashing ale everywhere. I dodge it by a hair, but there's nothing I can do about the ale. I'm not sure she can see me, but for sure she can smell me. She pounces from her seat like a cannonball, landing one knee on my chest, knocking the air out of me and breaking the invisibility spell. The tavern erupts into chaos. The wolves scream to walk out and move away in fear as they'll come for them next. Many look at me with a perplexed expression. This isn't how they expected to see me after my many days of being missing. In the span of 3 seconds since she knows me, the dragoness has exposed me and now has me pinned to the floor, holding one dagger against my throat and in the other one holding one of those glittering golden coins. Shit. Her pupils are dilated into two black pits, the desperate eyes of a beast, not one thirsting for blood, but full of fear and despair. And in her breath I catch a stomach-turning scent of booze mixed with burnt weeds. She takes in every one of my features more than once, unable to maintain her gaze, focus on anything in particular. I can see the struggle to focus on her face. Little by little, her cloudy vision clears. Her eyes become that of a thinking being. Little by little, little by little, her cloudy vision clears. Her eyes become that of a thinking being. Shh, shh. Don't speak. Let me think. Caddy, it's your chance. Serve her off. I don't want to even think of a response, in case something as small as eye movement or change in breathing is enough justification for her to set me on fire. That magic now, the powers that fuel it, the powers that fuel it are wicked, but the magic itself is deceitful, channeling something forbidden, yes, but then burning away. And you stand more than a head taller than the other wolves. Oh, I know exactly what you are. But why would someone of your ilk use such magic, hmm? From your appearance and the fact you were spying on me, I guess you are the enemy, but your magic tells another story. What a contradiction. So, are you my ally or my enemy? She knows I'm not an actual demon, at least, but everything else is still up in the air. If I was in her place, I'd figure the safest choice would be slicing my throat right now. And yet she remains still, as if waiting for an answer. Nothing comes to mind, though. My heart is pounding hard, and Ryan, meanwhile, is hurling death threats. There's no way I can break out of this hold. There's nothing I can do. And for just that 1 second, I can think. Silver, touched by a dark god, an avatar, her arrival on the island. She spared no, recruited him, his face reflecting on her eyes, broken, ruined, hopeless, easy to manipulate. How he cried when she proposed to plunge him again in the blood and guts of demon killing. She took him and broke, manipulated. She took him and broke, manipulated, destroyed, sentenced him again. And she smells like booze. No, like a distillery. Booze to cope with her horrors, guilt, maybe, but for sure the nightmares. She is not a regular drunk. She was already like this back then. Well, the question actually is if I trust my eyes, or if I trust nature. How much of a conscience does she have? Does she enjoy the killing? No. Her eyes. She was afraid when she pounced at me. She is thinking it through. Silver, when she manipulated him, Silver, when she manipulated him, he had tricked an entire cult. He was willing and deceitful. He could have played the long game and betrayed the Inquisition. She knew it and still took a chance. She's a risk taker, afraid, violent, body count in the hundreds, unbalanced, but there is an emotion there, and she does not know how much we know. A path to survival exists, and I see it. We have the advantage. We can do this. How? It begins with wine, my brother, beloved, together now. He looked hard into her eyes, and for a moment, with what little presence of mind he could muster, and then tilted his head in controlled, almost indifferent surprise. A hopeless stare, and all that comes with it. The numb extremities, the feeling of one's mind pulled away from his body, the muffled sounds. Ready to die, nothing to lose, just like Silver. Hold it. There, her pupils contract, and her hands stop shaking. She thinks she's in control. Yes, but there's something else too. Another emotion. What is it? I don't know. I can't tell. It's buried somewhere beneath the blood and guts. But there's a little more to her. That look in your eyes. After another moment of silence, little by little, one dagger retreats from my neck, and the coin goes back to her pocket. Your cardigan. Cardigan? Cardigan. Right, that. She gets up and points towards the exit. If you want to live, or if you don't want your last moments to be lying wet on the dirty floor of a tavern, then come with me. An awfully familiar ultimatum, despite her never having used it on me before. Ryan crosses his arms with a smug grin. Right. You go ahead. Where to? It doesn't matter. Anywhere with fewer people. It's only when we it's only when we're a few meters away from the tavern that she asked me to take her to the amphitheater instead. She just wanted to be away from prying ears before stating her actual intentions. And she asked me to go ahead just so I never leave her eyes. She doesn't want to give me the chance to go invisible again. Even now, she's nervous and paranoid. Here we are. The dragoness furrows her brows as she walks circles around me. She's not seizing me up, but she's not sizing me up, just checking our surroundings. Just looking at her stress. Just looking at her stresses me. It's like she doesn't know what peace is. I'm not sure I know either. Suddenly she turns to me and points, her eyes wild. What the fuck was that, huh? Where are you looking? Is there something there? She stares hard to where wine is in my vision. She couldn't have possibly noticed. Then again, a slight disturbance in the smoke of her pipe was enough to warn her of my presence. I don't understand what you're doing. What do you want from me? I'd like to know what else you're hiding. Your life depends on you being cooperative, so I suggest you stop being coy sooner rather than later. The truth might get me burned as well, however. I'm just taller than most, ma'am. That's far from the strangest thing about you, Silver mentioned you. I raised an eyebrow. Orphan, kidnapped by the Duke's predecessor for 2 years, a period that happens to line up with his visits to the valley. Your height and strength are the least of my worries. It's obvious you've been touched. Touched by whom? The glare she gives me feels like she's piercing my heart with needles. Don't play dumb with me, priest. This land hosts a dark god of which your people are well aware. Since the moment I lay eyes on you, it's like you're not playing. It's like you're not paying attention. You try to pretend you don't, but your mind is elsewhere. What is it? Hallucinations, visions? No, but you're still here and now. So then what? Her head slowly turns towards Ryan. Apparently, your personality changed after your stay in the Duke's mansion. Of course, this experience would change anybody, but it can't be that simple. It's never that simple. I assume Silver told you what happened before. I assume Silver told you what happened there. She ignores the questions and continues. The way you keep staring off, how your ears move as if you're hearing something I don't. Who is talking to you? I talk to myself sometimes, but maybe you don't understand, so let me explain. Normally, you wouldn't have made it out of the tavern alive. You're an avatar and almost certainly at fault for the haze leaf that brought Silver here. However, I've decided to give you a chance to explain yourself on account of your ties to this region's priest and the nature of your magic. It's too late to pretend you haven't come in contact with the Dark God, too. You wouldn't be able to channel it otherwise. If I'm mistaken, then correct me, but don't pretend you're not hiding something. Playing dumb will only get you burned. Terrifying. You're a fearsome woman. What's her name? Celia. Will you introduce me to your friend? I'd rather not, but she won't give me an option. Refusing an inquisitive man is never an option. Damn if you do, damn if you don't. I will, but don't be too surprised. Ryan takes my hand without hesitation. Suddenly I find myself out of my body and see him standing there next to the Inquisitor. A most disturbing sight. There's hardly a day I don't remember the dark place. Never do I choose to think of it. It just comes and goes as it pleases. It made itself a little spot in the corner before I noticed. It would stay there for a bit when I visited, watching me, waiting for the day I would return to it. But I'd never go back, never. Nobody can force me to, not the Duke, and not the monster standing in front of me. Her every footstep leaves a burning print on the ground she walks, and her breath is a hint of the fire that consumes her till dark is all that is left. She's also a murderer. There's no end to her wiping her hands on her robe, or her own robe. But the devil of Wanai must stand proud, and the Inquisitor's fire should be nothing compared to her demons. You really think you can walk into my town and begin barking orders at anyone you cross paths with, huh? Do you know who you're talking to? I'd like to know, actually. I'm One Sky. I'm the last devil Wanai, keeper of the valley. Keeper? Keeper how? The valley's my territory. It's my duty to keep pests such as you and the Duke away from it. She appears to be surprised, but it only lasts a second before she breaks into laughter. You, a demon? A keeper of the valleys? Yes, I understand. It's another attempt to erase me by denying my identity. The rules were not reduced to the fairy tales about demons that she's trying to reduce me to a joke. As if I'd fall for my ancestors' own tactics. Laugh all you want. Don't come crying at me when your disrespect invites the wrath of the land. I don't think you know what a demon is. Meaning you do, the Inquisition's word has no weight here. That's why we prefer fire. It leaves no place for argument, unless you're telling me you don't burn either. Wayne, please. Ha! I've seen the other Inquisitors, flames in action. They are a candle compared to the hell I spawned from. Then how come you were avoiding him? My brother is slightly more afraid of fire. I was just being considerate. She looks us up and down with an insufferably smug smile on her face. Be straight with me. Are you and your brother the ones responsible for sabotaging the Duke? Is it obvious? Or has the Inquisition's obsession with lies robbed you from the light of your eyes? Very good. All right, I got a picture of what's up with you now. For a second, I catch a familiar glint in her eyes, the same nice, sharp malice when she invited Silver to join the Inquisition. But back then, they stood atop the ashes of a, the ashes, 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 of a She keeps the idea to herself, for now, I presume. As for me, maybe I would have made the same choice as Silver when I was young, after Hector had been forgotten by all things were nigh. But now I am Wanskai. If there's no place for me, I'll just dig my own place. If I'm thrown into the darkness, then I'll make my own fire and light the way. You're an interesting one. At first I thought you were a solitary, but you're honest in your own twisted way. It's like that invisibility spell your brother was using. You burned the truth to make a smokescreen, which you used to pass off your tricks and deceit as the truth. Bits of the actual truth just happen to survive in the smoke. Your brother is part of you. Your brother is part of it too, isn't he? He's a part of the whole. The conquerors were attacked by demons, yet they were attacked by summons. Only demons live in the valley, yet it bears the eye's name. I am not here yet. I'm not here yet. You sense me breathing. I'm Wanskai, yet I am Wyan. And like the mountain range that conceals the valley, Kargan conceals Wyan. So you two, together, are the dark god's avatar. I open my arms with an inviting smile. Kargan would be breaking in cold sweat if he was in the body right now. So, what are you going to do about it? Well, nothing. I'm just fascinated. My mystification is a well-known tool to seal away dark gods. It's plain to see when I stumbled upon it, too. Meeting Silver, an avatar who rebelled against his dark god, was a miracle to me. To think there's another one who did the same, but by embodying the very idea of mystification. Silver preferred the burn everything to the ground approach, much like me. I feel Kagan's whisper in my ear, guiding me on what to say. I prefer stealth. Why risk awakening the guy? I prefer stealth. Why risk awakening the eye? She licks her lips. Obviously, I think she's figured out more than she's letting on after what happened 11 years ago about the loss that led us down this path, but she's holding her tongue. Maybe she doesn't feel it's her place to say more, or she deems it unnecessary to probe old scars, or maybe she simply cares more about how we are now than about who we once were. Now that we've introduced each other, why don't we exchange some information? Why, I've been wondering what brought you here. Did that Inquisitor request for help? Well, I'm here because of a stroke of bad luck. How come? I happened to arrive at the outpost at the same time as the message. The moment I saw his bird flying above me, casting a shadow, it felt like a bad omen, or perhaps like a sign from God. We didn't see any bird in his room. I guess he must have already sent the message by then. I asked them what they received, and lo and behold, my student's report on his assignment is in a nearby town. Silver feared that your Silver feared Silver feared that your dark god didn't begin awakening this last year, but rather 11 years ago with the previous Duke's expedition. Ah, so it was all about that old seal after all. The old priest, Irden, told Silver about it. You know about it too? Of course, the wolves of old used it to suppress the eye many centuries ago, after bringing ruin upon themselves. That because Silver suspected Leopardino's trespassing had disturbed the seal, allowing its influence to spill out. Indeed, was he right? I'm afraid so, yes. If you know about this, why did you do nothing to fix it? Because no one can fix it. She fell silent for a moment. Those were the words she truly did not want to hear. Do you know how many rights and priests have been lost in the middle of the senseless plunder this town has suffered? Your worst enemy isn't me, but the Duke and the ones like him. The truth is, the truth is that magic used back then cannot be replicated now. The old one is dead. Still, this concerned Silver, and it should concern you too. This is a god that had previously awakened and was only kept at bay by this seal. Maybe you think everything is fine as it is because not much has changed yet, but the Inquisition knows of many cases like this. It may take decades, but the corruption will keep spreading until it cannot be ignored any longer. If nothing is done, your dark god's awakening is not a matter of if, but when. It's trouble you hear this from the Inquisition back when they originally visited this town last year. Kakan's hands ball into fists. I feel it coming. A wave that is hot and cold at the same time. It covers me and makes my entire body shudder. The audacity, the hypocrisy. She accuses us of hiding secrets from the Inquisition, and yet what they have done for us. The audacity, the hypocrisy. She accuses us of hiding secrets from the Inquisition, and yet what have they done for us? Where were they when Mom and Dad were murdered? Where were they when we were in a dark cell, spilling the blood of peasants and priests some nobles had pushed too far, surely? My hand trembles with fury as I point at her. Well, maybe the Inquisition should have done something when the previous Duke killed and drove out the priests of Renai. If your order had none, or if your order has known about the eye for so long, then surely you were able to anticipate the harm that could come from dealing away with the families that knew what was left of Renai's old magic. And your people knew that Aaron was the only priest left, aided only by my brother, whose hands are unfit to cast magic. You knew that we were kicked out of our temples and that the Duke repurposed them as he saw fit. You had 11 years to do something, anything. So why didn't you? The Inquisitor, for once, fizzes. I didn't know. It wasn't up to my order. The Inquisition is a very large organization, you see. Then who was responsible? Why didn't they do anything? I don't know. How could I? Then what were we supposed to do? Sit idly as this man awoke a dark god and have him kill us all? And not by that apocalypse, then by the Inquisition coming in to butcher us all. If so, stop wasting my time and just kill me now. Do your job or don't, and let me do mine. Point taken, but now I'm asking you to put aside these resentments and focus on the issue at hand. Is there really nothing that can be done to repair the seal? For, of course, there is one thing, but I can't. I won't do it. It's just too big of a sacrifice. I feel Kagan's presence hovering over my right side. I extend my hand, and he grabs it, pulling himself out of the depths. Did you know that Silver and the Duke left for the valley yesterday? I read that was his plan, yes. I understand that he considered the broken seal his priority, but that still doesn't explain how. But that still doesn't explain him going to the valley. Even with the Duke, even with the Duke's help, he'd be unable to reach the seals, as they are too deep within the valley. Surely he realized this. It just happens he found a way. I don't like this. Not one bit. I don't want to hear her next words, but she continues without pause. There's this doctor that has been staying a few months in town. Based on the report, I believe you three are well acquainted. Wine's claws dig into my shoulder as he leans over it, ears and eyes alert. What does this have to do with him? Silver was unable to find you, and the police could only point towards him. Well, and the priest could only point him towards the seal's existence. As you said, he needed a way to get into the valley. And while he didn't have access to you, he did have access to the doctor who he suspected knew about your situation. Silver learned he's desperate for money, so he planned to use that. Then they are in the valley now? I've yet to see Silver for myself, but the townspeople have been talking about him going into the valley since I arrived. I can only assume he succeeded at enlisting the doctor, yes. But how? Until the other night, Hector knew nothing about me and Ryan's situation that was supposed to keep him safe, removed from this whole situation. So why? Why is he involved now? Why is he taking Silver and Manuel to the valley? She has to be mistaken. Why would Hector accept this? And what could he possibly offer to the expedition? I don't get it. Indeed, why and what? Think is what I normally do, but it feels pointless now. I've done it 100 times to look at the result. The Inquisition didn't take the bait. Hector, beyond any prediction, got roped into this plan and is in the valley, and if that sensation in our hands means that we think it does, he truly must have discovered a way to let Silver through the barriers. What sense does it make to try to figure anything out anymore? Everywhere I look, I'm missing information. Things that weren't there keep popping into existence. And now skulking around. If I want to find out what happened, then I'll need to go and get answers from Hector. Wine, calm down, please. How can he be so calm? Listen to what he's saying about Hector, and listen himself as if I bet that Inquisitor dragged him into the valley. Talking like he'd sell the valley to the Inquisitor. Hector would never do that. I'm not calm, and you know it damn well. What you don't know is that about Hector. We don't know a thing about Hector. But what are you mumbling about? We're talking. Please be patient. I close my eyes and extend my right hand forward. It comes in contact with that which connects yet separates us, that warm, invisible membrane between us. From the depths of emotions I can't quite distinguish bubble up. The heat they emanate tells me all I need to know, however. They are searing hot, imprinting themselves over Warren's body. He keeps denying them, pushing them away, but despite his struggle, the bubbling only grows more intense. Oh, you're afraid, Warren? This is how you feel about Hector, now that he's gone and betrayed you? For many years I've been witness to your immoral and to your immortal spite. You never forgive wrongdoings and always assume the worst of anyone who isn't already close to you. But now you want to protect Hector from such intense hatred. Ryan, are you worried you'll hate Hector for this? I don't want to hate him. He said we'd have a home with each other, so why does he keep doing this? Why does he keep making sacrifices for his hometown? Is it because of what happened the other night was keeping our secret for him truly so terrible that that erases our promise? What we did was wrong, but does he really? Oh, is it because of what happened the other night was keeping our secret for him truly so terrible that it erases our promise? What we did was wrong, but does he really not recognize me anymore? He does. It took him a long time to finish putting everything together, but I don't believe he would have fallen in love with Wanskog if he didn't see Ryan. I don't know why he's helping the Inquisitor. It might be as you say, and the Inquisitor forced him, but the pain of losing his father in the hometown runs deep too. I saw you mourn our parents, and then the ancient Renai, all these years, it turned you into a demon. Who knows what grief did to Hector? The only way to find out is finding him and getting answers. You're right, of course, but of course, let's not waste any time then. Let's go after him. Knowing the Duke, they must be hauling a bunch of beasts of burden and stuff they don't need. If we hurry up, we should catch up with them. Agreed, but I need to finish dealing with the Inquisitor first. Still want to come with us, but considering we're also dealing with Silver and Manuel, that might not be a bad thing. I just need to convince her of the urgency of the situation. But surprisingly enough, Cecilia isn't looking at me right now. In fact, she's distracted looking up at the clouds. So, when I woke up today, something strange happened. Monsieur ignores me. What is he looking at? The sky has that pink hue so characteristic of one eye's sunset, and it's a bit cloudy, but it's still morning, isn't it? Not even noon. My right hand goes numb. Now stronger than ever, something announces its presence to me. It's Avatar. We need to act now. Just tell me, is there any other way to contain the eye besides the seal? When it's this close to awakening, no, there's no other way. Back then, the Sirens, the priests of ancient Wanai, divided a powerful wound into 5 parts, made statues of it, and sacrificed a piece of their life force just to force the eye back into slumber. We don't know how many of them participated in the ritual, but considering the pieces of Sergil, it was at least 5. Nothing else will work, but we don't even have enough Sirens for the proper ritual. Cecilia is chewing over words, trying to find the most fitting way to express the despair her breathing and shaking shoulders already communicate. Either that, or she's considering biting her tongue off right now rather than later. But then again, Ryan did trick her a little. That said, Ryan wasn't completely honest earlier. There's a way to repair it. It's just not something we normally consider. What do you need? We'll walk over our ancestors' steps. We must make 5 statues representing the Sergil, and we'll need them taken to the valley. They must be placed in the same place as the originals. It's not the Inquisition's way of doing things, but you'll need to get the townspeople's help. We won't have enough time otherwise. Yes, I realize. Let's get going then. I'm not coming with you. Cecilia is already taking her first step back to town when she looks back at me with furrowed eyebrows. She's not playing, but neither am I. You go back to town and ask for Ernan. He'll know what to do. Do you plan to go to the valley by yourself? Yes, don't try to stop me. In another situation, she surely wouldn't have let this slide, but she's too afraid of the Dark God's awakening to waste more time with me. Do you want to save your daughter so badly? I swear it must be an Avatar thing to be obsessed with some guy. Someone needs to go to the valley and stop the Duke from making things any worse, which from the looks of it, your student has already failed at. She doesn't like it, but is forced to admit it's true. There's no retort this time. That's what you get for allowing the Duke to do as he pleases with Renai, and for sending an Inquisitor to Osama's job. Surely this will be the last time such a thing happens. She complains but doesn't argue further. We run in opposite directions with me heading towards the Eye Valley. How is it that the Eye is awakening so fast? Just what happened? Whatever it is, I just hope I'm not too late to stop it. And Hector, God, please let him be okay. Ryan isn't the only one struggling. I myself don't know whether I should hug or strangle you next time I see you. You didn't mean to, but you caused so much trouble since you arrived. And now this. Anna was right to be suspicious of you. Maybe keeping you away from all this was the right choice after all. Could I have prevented this by telling you the truth from the start, but keeping a closer eye on you, or would that have hastened this disaster? Did you truly believe everyone would walk away from this happy? Were Silver's words so reassuring, or his threats more terrifying than the idea of the Dark God awakening? You're such a fool. I don't know what to believe anymore. But still, I said I wanted to protect you, and that's still true. I'll do everything in my power to keep you safe, you and I as well. Wait for us, Hector. The normally playful forest of Wanai is silent as Celia makes her way back to town. The bird's song has stopped, and the usual branches and rocks that sneak into the path to catch you when you least expect it are absent. She's read about these signs 1,000 times. Nature has been silenced. Nothing stands between the dark god and those who would touch it now. Letting Kagan go into the valley is both a bet and a strategic decision on her part. She hopes her impression of him is accurate and that he will stall whatever is waking up the eye for long enough for her to fix the seal. Then her thoughts wander to Silver. He's in the valley as well, yet he hasn't been able to stop the Dark God's awakening. Celia doesn't even know if he's dead or alive. Across the years, she's gone back and forth on whether recruiting him in the Order of the Rising Sun was a mistake or not. What a wretched destiny they share. So many years ago, Celia saw in Silver a broken man who lost everything, or rather realized that he had nothing from the start. He did not exist beyond his role as the avatar of the gluttonous god. A part of her laments their meeting. Had she landed on the beach before he killed the rest of the cult, she wouldn't have distinguished Silver from the cultists and would have dealt with him accordingly. And had she arrived later, she probably would have found yet another corpse in front of her, in front of the charred remains of the hidden church. But no, she had to get there just in time to witness that hollow man, with the gears in her sick head to turn and realize how easy it would be to hollow out what little remained of him. It would make him into an asset for the Order. While reading Silver's report, she wondered if she was being coy and had taken mercy on Kagan due to the sense of kinship. Now she sees that not Now she sees that's not the case. That wolf has something that Silver doesn't. Then maybe, just maybe, he'll be able to do something about the situation in the valley. Maybe he'll help Silver while he's at it, if there is a world tomorrow for that to matter. She can only hope so. The town comes into view and frantically runs towards the first wolf she sees to ask him about Irna's whereabouts. It's hard to tell if the wolf is more scared of their unnatural skies above or the wide-eyed, still reeking of alcohol inquisitor. After repeating the question along with a fresh death threat, the man hesitantly points her in the direction of Finbar's smithing shop. By the time she arrives there, however, there's already a crowd in front of the door. They don't even notice Celia as she approaches. They are all whispering among themselves and shouting interjections as they watch two wolves argue by the door. I don't dare. I don't care what the doctor said. We need to see Ernan. Haven't you looked at the sky? And what do you suppose he's gonna do about that? Well, I don't know, but the priest at the church didn't know shit. Maybe Ernan does. Still, he's in the middle of his nap and needs to rest. When you're our age, you'll understand that leg injury is nothing to scoff at. Celia immediately understands that she has no time for this. Pushing the people in the crowd aside, she approaches the two wolves. So the priest is here. I must see him. What? Who are you? I'm with the Inquisition. A powerful devil has awakened the valley, and I need his help in dealing with it. We'll also need a mason and carriages to transport 5 statues into the Eye Valley. Where is? Fuck you. Not another outsider asking us to go into the valley. Now, boy, don't be rude. Uh-huh. Who sent you? Celia is losing his patience. She wishes to do away with the stupid peasant, but she hesitates to do anything drastic with so many eyes on her. She's supposed to enlist in town to help, not trigger a revolt. Kagan pointed me to this place. Now, oh, so you think missing Kagan would give your words some sway? Who put you up to this, really? Manuelino? The wolf in front of her is approximately 24 years old. He's rather muscular, and his breath smells only marginally better than hers. His hands are strong, but there's a gentleness to them that clashes with the rest of his appearance. While his fur is messy here and there, there's not there's not a single strand out of place in his hands, not a single chip to be found on his claws. Even his finger pads as he points at her looks softer than one would expect. While his fur is messy here and there, there's not a single strand out of place in his hands, not a single chip to be found on his claws. Even his finger pads as he points at her look softer than one would expect. It's not like it's not like he doesn't use them, but he clearly values his hands. She could grab that finger and snap it right now. How many would she need to break for him to get out of the way? The dragoness sighs as Fergus continues hurling conspiratorial accusations at her. Silver and his way with words would be so useful right now. Suddenly, the door of the shop opens. Finbar tries to get Ernan to go inside, but the old priest is hearing none of it. You fool! Why didn't you wake me up? God, there's even an inquisitor at the door. Finally, Ernan, the sky went that strange color all of a sudden, and a bunch of people are getting sick, hearing or seeing things, feeling weak. It looks like the Duke finally made it. He broke into the valley and is awakening what is inside. I don't think this can be fixed. So it is because of the valley. What's going to happen then? Should we evacuate? I don't think evacuating will save us now, boy. As I've been trying to say, Kagan says that there is a way. Who are you? Celia, of the Order of the Rising Sun. The old priest squints at her. He's on edge, worried. Visiting Kagan only worsened his mood. The Inquisition is infamous for their interrogation techniques. The stories about torn out teeth and claws are the most prominent, but they are far from the worst thing they can do. Perhaps bringing Kagan up immediately was a mistake. He's on his way to the valley right now, so he couldn't come. And then takes a deep breath. He's not thinking. He's trying to find a trace of something under the smell of herbs and alcohol, blood or burning flesh. But he finds nothing. Much to Celia's relief, her robes are clean as well. Celia, your presence strikes me as an ill omen. You can see the result of the interference of the last dragon. Your order said. What exactly did Kagan tell you? That question is another test. He wants to know if Celia truly spoke to Kagan. A powerful spell is needed to put the thing in the valley back to sleep. We need to make 5 statues based on a sigil and take them to the heart of the valley. That would be true, but the old wolf scratches his head, looking like Celia clenches her teeth, feeling the thread of hope beginning to snap. However, the priest's eyes open to realization, and his shoulders drop. No doubt he has finally grasped what Kagan intends to do, and yet his expression remains so bitter. I'll do as you say. We might yet save this town. Save it? From what? What is that thing in the valley? It's a demon, as you already heard. Is it? But the Inquisition said otherwise before. What are you getting at? Just get to the point. We don't have much time. She's hiding something, and you're helping her do it. You're supposed to be on our side, Iranin. Why are you helping this Inquisitor? I thought you hated her a bunch. Ha! Now we're on the same side. Didn't didn't seem like it when she's hiding something and you're helping her do it. They're supposed to be on our side, Aaron. Why are you helping this inquisitor? I thought you hated her bunts. Ha! Now we're on the same side? Didn't seem like it when all of you sat on your asses and left it to me to save my son. Aaron, I'm so sorry about that. But we were scared back then. We didn't want to lose anybody else. It's too late to fix it now. You didn't want to lose anybody else. You lost two of your last priests and 15 other wolves. You're all just cowards looking after your own skin. Renai's priests have been protecting you in solitude for centuries. And how do you repay us? Looking the other way as the Duke puts us down like beasts. Not only did you look the other way when they hunted us, but when they came after your own families. You're right that it's too late to fix it, but you didn't seek justice neither for us nor for your own kin. Who are you to demand anything from me? I was still a cub back then. I can't change my parents' choices, but I'm my own man, and I can do things differently better. Ha, as if. Why not let him try? Suddenly, a wolfess steps out of the crowd. As far as Celia can tell, she's probably a farmer, but her eyes are witty and she speaks with an authority that challenges that of the priest. Fergus isn't the only one that regrets what happened. Aaron, you and Caddy don't see it because you keep your distance, but the people of Renai want to set things right. We're tired of living in fear of the Duke's whims. She turns to the crowd with open arms. Am I wrong? Look around you. We didn't do anything to resist the Duke, even when he began throwing us into the valley. And look where that's gotten us. Renai and beyond is now on the brink of destruction, all because of him. How much longer are we going to wait before fighting back? I have 3 children now. I refuse for my time when I refuse for my time with them to be cut short because of this. I refuse for their futures to be taken away before they can start living. But to protect those we live, but to protect those we love, we have to fight. We won't look away from Renai's darkness any further. But to protect those we love, we have to fight. We won't look away from Renai's darkness any longer. The uproar that takes over the crowd, the way in which they raise their fists into the sky and howl in war, is one that Celia knows well. Countless times has she seen it during her missions in the voices and eyes of the abandoned, the one who had everything taken away from them by nature's favorites, the powerful. A war swearing to take back what belongs to them, their family, their land, their dignity. But that which has been taken away and destroyed can never come back. So the only thing they can do is destroy in return, and thus they turn to a dark god. To defy the Duke, the Lord, the King, is to defy nature, and yet, if Aaron leads them, they will defy the dark god as well. Something will break. Celia just wonders what it will be, and what will be left after the fact. Fools, you have no idea what you're saying. Then tell us. We need you to make things right, Aaron. Think about Kagan and everything he had to shoulder alone. If you can't forgive Renai, then at least help us for his sake too. You have no idea. No idea. The old priest's lips tremble and there are tears forming in his eyes. For an instant, in just an instant, it looks as though he'll finally be crushed by the weight he's been carrying since the day he was initiated to his holy duty. But the old tree holds strong, even with tears running down his cheeks. For Kagan, for him alone, I'll do anything. You know that right, Tracer. The wolfess nods. Then his eyes wander to the Inquisitor. His eyes meet her oppressive gaze for only an instant before returning to his fellow wolves. This is not what Celia wants, but this matter isn't hers to meddle with. So Enon shakes off the stare and speaks up. You don't know what you're asking for. There's no coming back from this. Come on, what secret could the Valley have that is so much worse than what we already know? There never were demons, or rather, our ancestors pretended to be demons. Oh, the thing in the Valley isn't a demon. It's hard to explain if we are short on time. What you need to know is that our ancestors borrowed its power once. That power brought about ruin, so it was sealed in the Valley abandoned. Its true name has been erased, but now we call it the Eye. Leo Pedino disturbed the seal many years ago, and his son's meddling has pushed the Eye to the point of awakening. It falls on us to mend the seal, or else what will happen? Nobody knows exactly, but what's for sure is that Renai will 60 be, all of us gone in a single breath. Now please, we must hurry. Thank you, Ernan. Fergus, aren't you an apprentice at the masonry? Help Ernan draw the plans for the statues. Me and everyone else will go to the stables and get everything ready to take them into the valley. Right, but 5 statues. Will we really get them done in time? They are incredibly simple things. You'll be all right. And what about you? Celia tilts her head as if surprised that Teresa is suddenly bringing attention to her. What about me? Will you get in our way now that we've aired all your secrets? Be honest for once. I can't approve of what you've done, but my priority is to prevent the Eye's awakening. Everything else is secondary. If revealing the Dark God's existence is what it takes to stop it, then so be it. Let her be, Teresa. I still need her help. Celia raises an eyebrow and gives Aaron a curious look. The town seems determined to save itself after all. So what does he need? So what does he even need from an outsider? I just hope Kagan really is okay. I heard he finally sold up again just to get into a scuffle with the Inquisitor. The wolves begin whispering among each other. Celia's fingers tense up. I won't deny that, but we talked things through afterwards. For your sake, I hope you're telling the truth, but we don't have much time now. Let's get started. If you say so, let's hurry, everyone. I'll make those plans for the Masons, and then we'll get going. Please wait here. Very well. What are you waiting for, Finbar? Give me some charcoal and paper. Celia sighs when the wolves disperse and Eonin goes back inside the sub. The sky is breaking open in a red hue. A stormy wind carries dark fallen leaves from the forest, and cracks are beginning to form in the windows of the buildings nearby. No doubt the town, and then the earth itself will soon crack open like a cell as whatever is sleeping in the valley rises from the depths. And see, a proud inquisitor has been tasked with waiting outside the shop. On one hand, she's glad the townsfolk have enough survival instincts to fight back against the Dark God. On the other hand, and she thinks this is what Irna was actually worried about, they don't know they have invited the Inquisition's attention. Although that's a problem for if the world doesn't end. She too will think of how to inform the Order about this only after that matter is settled. Before long, the bell rings as Fergus leaves the shop and runs towards the masonry. Irnan comes out just seconds later. Let's go. Where to? I still don't know what you need me for. The Duke's manor. I can't possibly get in there, not even now. But they'll listen to you. You can force them to let me in. Oh? Celia follows Ernan as he starts walking. The dragoness's eyes trail down to a limp that he's barely managing to hide. I suppose the Duke stole something necessary to finish the ritual. I'll need it to finish the ritual, yes. He's not related to Kagan and wine by blood, nor is he touched by the dark god. But it's obvious he raised him. Hmm. As soon as they arrive at the stables, Ernan shouts, asking to be taken to the Duke's manor. Him and Celia get off and tell the coachman to wait. Him and Celia get off and tell the coachman to wait for their return. Neither of them intend for this to take too long. Two nervous lions stand guarding the front door. One has to wonder how much they fear the Duke to stand in their posts even in this situation. And one of them is foolish enough to try to stop the visitors. Stop right there. His Grace has decreed the Inquisition is no longer welcome. In the blink of an eye, Celia grabs his face, and with a snapping noise, he falls to the ground, holding his nose and screaming. Celia speaks with a cold and detached voice, enunciating each word with practiced care. Stand in my way again, and by the Inquisition, your life is forfeit. The other guard makes way for them. Inside, they turn into the manor's east wing. Do you know where it is? It should be right here. The Duke's laboratory greets them with a stench of death. Aaron makes a painful expression upon witnessing what's on the operating table and the contents of the cells, but he has no time to grieve. He must focus. They still put it somewhere out of sight, yet not impossible to find. Let's see. It's not here. Then maybe. Here it is. Celia stared over his shoulder, and her eyes narrowed in confusion. What is that doing here? Well, more importantly, how is that supposed to help us? I need to take this to the valley if I'm to finish the ritual. Let us go. I'll explain along the way. Alright, so I figure in there. I'm gonna wait until so later about a few months until they go into the we see both Kagan and Wine go into the valley to look for Hector. It looks like Aaron's going there too, so it looks like they all meet in there. So I'm pretty sure Hector was forced into the valley by Silverf. I don't think they I don't think Hector betrayed them. Because that's what Kagan is suggesting. Alright, so um Aaron and the town is going to come up with five statues, get the five statues and put them in the valley to contain the eye. And both looks like Cargon and Rain are going to the valley also to help with containing the eye. You know, what is going to happen to Hector? We haven't seen Hector since that what happened in his eyes just kind of changed. And so this Inquisitor Celia looks like things are in such a desperate situation that even she decided to agree with Annan's request with containing the eye because this would be illegal for participating in it, but they got a desperate times cover desperate measures. Yes. So Celia knew just by looking at Kaga that he was touched by a demon or this the supernatural force. In this case, Ryan. She knew that wolves on average shouldn't look like Kaga, like 2 heads taller and this huge muscular frame, and it's just he stands out too much. So she knew right away about Kagan being part, just being with a demon. So yeah. So if all this is resolved, I hope nothing bad happens to Kagan and Ryan. I hope nothing happens to Hector also. Well, it seems like Kagan blamed Hector for what's going on. He wants to save him too, despite that. Again, it's not like he's blaming him on purpose, like he's doing this on purpose. He said it himself, but regardless, he's he thinks he's caused all this, which this probably would have happened anyway with or without Hector. And I mean, you need a doctor for the town, so I don't know if it's fair for him to blame Hector, again, angry Hector for what's going on. But again, I don't think Kagan really cared all that much about Hector like Wine did. Wine was the one that cared for Hector, and Wine is the reason that Hector longs to come back to this town after being away for so long, not Kagan, really. Alright, so we'll see what happens next time. Thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.